Welcome to Blackpool's iconic North Pier, which has stood proudly on Blackpool's coastline for 163 years. It was built to offer seaside entertainment for Victorian visitors and is the oldest and longest of Blackpool's 3 piers. We love it in Blackpool, and so do our millions of visitors. Today we're joined by local historian Barry McCann, who will share a fascinating insight into its past and what makes North Pier a treasured part of our coastal heritage.
Blackpool North Pier is the longest and oldest of the 3 Blackpool piers, stretching 550 yards. It was built by the Blackpool Pier Company. Construction began in May 1862. It was actually opened in May 1863, so just took 12 months to build. It was originally intended just for promenading. The theatres, the shops were added later. And although Blackpool was very much a working class resort, it was aimed at a more upmarket clientele. Hence the photographs you might see of people marching down the pier in their Sunday best. They charged an admission of twopence, which is about £5 in today's money. The reason being that they wanted to discourage what were known as trippers, i.e. the more working class holidaymakers, from invading the pier. It was because of this that there was a campaign then launched to build a second pier for the trippers, much against the wishes of the Blackpool Pier Company. Permission was granted in 1866, and what is now Central Pier down there was built, though originally called South Pier, because the South Pier we know today was built much later on. Central Pier, of course, was geared more towards entertainment, with stalls, amusement rides, of course, theatre. Theatre was added to North Pier as it went along with the solarium. And then, of course, the jetty was built in stages from 1864 to 1867, where it became a launch base for pleasure cruises, fishing competitions, of course, and much later on was a helicopter pad. Sadly, both helicopter pad and jetty disappeared in the sea in 1997 during storms. The pier has also played host to a number of notable shipwrecks over the years. In 1892, the Norwegian steamer, the Cyrene, came crashing into the pier, taking much of the decking away and 4 shops disappearing down into the waves. In 1897, HMS Foudroyant, what had been Nelson's flagship, now decommissioned, was anchored just off North Pier as an exhibition. It slipped anchor and ran aground and stayed ran aground until they eventually dismantled it. In 1936, a pleasure steamer returning from Llandudno, again was pushed into the pier and created a gap of about 10 yards, which then had to be rebuilt. And in 1968, a boat containing 4 men, again in the waves, crashed into the pier. They grabbed onto the iron girders, holding on for the life. They were hauled up one by one, 3 of them rescued. Unfortunately, the 4th one disappeared beneath the waves. North Pier continues to this day, of course, under the ownership of the Sedgwick family, currently up for sale, but still going strong. The theatre still hosting shows, the pier's planks still being promenaded by visitors, and long may it continue.